Today we got to ride the MT09, and as always, we stumbled upon some seaplanes that I had not seen before, and these are big seaplanes. I had never seen these before. We also, in the course of riding around in new places, what happened is I stumbled upon what looked like a haunted house, an abandoned factory, I guess it was. And it reminded me, when I got out of high school, I worked in a couple of these factories where it was really rough environment. They're not allowed to have those kind of factories anymore, but this reminded me of one. Boy, and you never know in the middle of a ride what you're going to stumble upon. This brought back a lot of memories of working in a factory. And you see this stuff and you wonder, that's why we don't make anything in the United States anymore. Has the look of another beautiful riding day, and we are going to take advantage of every one of these days. We are coming up on that really nice part of the year. We went through this horrible heat cycle, and every one of the days now is just getting nicer than the day before, and we're going to get out of here early. Now, I always pre-flight the bike, and whenever it needs chain lube, it's just so easy. I put that little table mat under there. I check the air in the tires, and I'm really religious about this. I have gotten burned on having a low tire out on the road where it's real inconvenient. And sometimes you're far from home before you figure it out. And I don't like riding a dirty bike. I just don't like it. I don't know, it's like dirty underwear or dirty socks or whatever. I don't like it. And Karen always has some work to me to do on the farm. There's always a little list of things feeding the there's my favorite zinnia. Feeding the fish, of course, always part of the morning routine. And having that extra cup of coffee, taking a little walk around by the vegetables, make sure everything's under control, and seeing what Karen has harvested, it's a fun morning. And every day now we're getting a nice supply of fresh tomatoes, and Karen's been making tomato sauce product.
Okay, guys, and no biting. The biting's gotta go.
Right from the beginning of this ride, the weather was perfect, the sun was out, and I forgot all about the chance there may be some rain later in the day. It was just a beautiful day. And of course, every ride is just a little bit different. You never know what you're going to stumble upon. You never know. You start poking your nose down these back roads, and there's always something interesting. And it's always fun seeing where they come out. And a lot of times there's a little surprise somewhere on there. And today we did run into more than one surprise.
Now, so many of the ponds in this area have toxic algae. I don't know what this is, but this looks like pretty slimy here. I don't know. I don't know. A lot of ponds have it though in this area. But it's a great place to ride.
And I think, personally, this is why the MT09 suits my riding requirements as closely as it does. I like to ride these back roads. Not a lot of traffic, not a lot of cars in my vision, very low law enforcement. And you can basically get on the gas, go through the gears anytime you want. Now, even though it wasn't in the 90s today, it just felt so much better in the shade. It just was nice and cool. It's the same feeling you get when you're in a car and you feel a little warm, you roll down a window or turn the air conditioner on. Just gives you so many choices. And when it was 90, I was looking for shade every inch of the ride. Now, only half of the time. And anytime that road opens up, it's just fun going through the gears with that quick shifter. Hard to explain to somebody that's never had a bike with a quick shifter how much fun it is. Believe me, it gets addictive quickly. I can't even explain it. And when I have a bike without a quick shifter, I really miss it. I just like the fact that these roads are so much different. It goes from populated areas to totally you're in the woods and there isn't a house around, and then you pop out and you're on a main road with 2 yellow lines. So this was a little sidebar to our journey today, and to be honest, I have never seen this type of seaplane. It looks like a multi-passenger. I really can't identify it. Of course, we see the typical seaplanes, and when I was a kid, there was a seaplane base right near my house, and we would go down after school and watch them up and down the Hackensack River. It was called Tracy's. Now, these big ones, look how big this is. Now, I'm assuming this is something they would use in the Bahamas or something. I don't know. There were several of them there. A cool paint job. And I just had to stick around and watch one of them take off. And, of course, when you're waiting, you're always in traffic. Anyway, this was one of the coolest little stops of the day. And anytime I see something unusual, I try to get a couple pictures to share. Now, I know Dallas has a big interest in aviation. Scott, John Pothier. There's probably a whole lot more people that have an interest in aviation. It's uncanny how aviation and motorcycling go hand in hand, and modeling sometimes it goes hand in hand. But this was really a cool little sidebar to the trip today, and I really did enjoy this. And watching them take off, it looked like they were really lumbering to take off. I don't know if they were fully loaded or fully fueled or what, but I'm wondering, where do they go? Do they go to the Bahamas, or do they go to the Hudson River, or it's all mystery to me. I also like to check in from time to time at that railway restoration area in Booton, right by the train station. They've got some old trains there and some old passenger cars. Always something cool along the route. Now, I know everybody uses their own motorcycle, however they choose. A long distance touring, quick rides, drag race your friends, or go up in the twisties and see who can avoid going into the ditch. Everybody has something different they like about motorcycling, but I love a day like today when I can just get off the beaten path. Now, some days you go down some of these roads and looks like a house that's been abandoned, or we found a pizza oven right by a lake one day. You never know what you're going to find. Always something interesting. Now, I'm thinking back to the time, and it wasn't that long ago. I was riding down a road and I looked, and there was like a dirt road, and I could see that down the dirt road, it looked like there was an old, like a Ford or a Mercury parked with weeds growing through the hood and
no air in the tires, and I just had that feeling that car might have been there for 20 years, and maybe there's a dead body in the trunk, or $1 million. You never know. And every time I stop to take a picture, I'm so happy with the mods I made to the bike. It took me 2 years to make it my own. It's now my own. And I'm constantly monitoring these Michelin 5s that are on this bike for wear, and it looks like they're going to exceed my expectations, but I really won't know until the day it comes to swap them out for a set of 6s, and I will report how that works out. Now, I think the MT09 is truly an all-weather fighter, whether you like to explore the back roads or get into the twisties or whatever, or just have a lot of fun. And it's such a big asset that this bike is quiet. It doesn't have an obnoxious exhaust. Every time you go through a little bit of population or somebody walking a dog, they don't give you the finger. It's great. And this whole area, it seems littered with roads that some of them look, you don't know what's at the end of the road, and you don't know where it's going to let you out. And there's just an endless supply of them, and I never get sick of doing this. Exploring around on an MT09 and looking for hidden treasures, a lot of fun. I shot some nice photos from the top of this hill, and looking out over the hills and things, it had the look of being on the Appalachian Trail or something up here, but it's just such a beautiful area to ride, and it changes constantly. You never feel bored. The scenery changes around every corner. And anytime you're bored, just go through the gears. I don't think that quick shifter is going to wear out in my lifetime. And I like Ray's saying about the motorcycles in general. You're never going to wear them out. Just ride them and keep riding them. And it has the look of my experimental 4-to-1 wheel paint. Is going to go to stand the test of time very well. I look at it constantly. I keep it clean, of course. I look for any little chips that need to be touched up, but it really has the look of it's going to stand the test of time. And all the mods on this bike are small details: the blue paint, the silver wheels, all the little carbon touches, the getting rid of the screws and the scoops, and that custom windshield.
Look at this old factory. This looks like life after people here. Wow.
Now, when I got out of high school, I worked in several factories, including U.S. Rubber in Passaic. And it used to be just a given thing that you could go look in a paper. There'd be jobs for factory workers. They paid half decent. It was a lot better than working at Starbucks or McDonald's, that's for sure. And we used to be able to make things in America. We used to have factories. We used to have buildings. We used to, God, this just makes me so sad to see what's left of these factories. Look at this. And imagine if the walls could talk, how many people earned a living there and how many people worked overtime and or met their future wife or whatever, or put a dead body in a cellar. I don't know. It's just a sad part of American heritage. And every time I pass one of those factories that's abandoned and you know it's never coming back, those jobs are gone forever, those things are all shipped overseas, it's sad. It's just really sad to me. We used to be so good at making things. Well, I have not had a bad ride on the MT09 yet, and I don't think I ever will. This bike suits my needs ergonomically. It's got enough power to entertain. The quick shifter makes it even more fun, and it's got a slew of safety features. So a little adventure today ended on a real positive note, putting gas in and hitting the button on the dashboard to see that I got over 50 miles a gallon, because basically I was cruising most of the day. When you go for a ride with your friends and you're on the gas, it goes a little bit under 50 sometimes. But it's basically a 50 mile a gallon bike in a day when we have expensive gas, and who knows if that's ever coming back. Who knows? But I do know I have loved every minute of owning this bike, and Karen, thank you. It is the best birthday present you could ever have.
Just another beautiful summer ride, just absolutely beautiful. They said it was going to rain this afternoon. I don't think so. It really looks nice right now. I should have stayed out another hour or so. Well, take advantage of this nice weather. Anyway, I hope you did enjoy sharing this little piece of our life.
And again, no matter what your interest in motorcycling is, and I just think motorcycling is like a buffet. People like show bikes that never even have crankshafts in the motor. People like trials bikes, dirt bikes, road race bikes, really expensive bikes, and then bikes like this that are relatively inexpensive. And people like custom bikes. People like to make the bike their own. Everybody is different, and that's what makes motorcycling a very entertaining sport to me. You almost never run into two people that want to do exactly the same thing. Everybody has a little custom this or a custom that. They have cool little places to ride. Some people like the back roads. Some people like to blast down the highway 150 miles an hour and try to avoid the helicopters. The problem is, I enjoy all of it. That's a real problem. And thanks so much for watching.